Welcome to the Beasts of the NFC East. It's Mock Madness, a full 7-round mock draft. But first, the New York Giants are assembling the perfect cast for Netflix's quarterback. But here's the twist. All of the quarterbacks are on the New York Giants. Jeremy Goode, what is good? I am your host, Sean Gnitzcavich. I don't know if I already said that. I'm sorry. Jeremy Goode, how are you feeling?
I mean, it's just as an Eagles fan coming off a Super Bowl, and what the Giants have done at the quarterback position, I don't know if it's worth the idea to have a season because it just looks like the Giants are going to run away with it with the plethora of quarterbacks they have, and they also might even draft one at 3 still. Maybe they don't do it at 3. I still think they might draft one later on, but they are just cornering the quarterback market. I don't know if it's worth to have a season this year because the Giants are just gonna win the whole thing. So congrats, Sean, on the last week. And wow, look at the Giants.
Yeah, it's quite polarizing. Like, I've seen Giants fans that are upset that it's not Rodgers, and then I've seen Giants fans that were like, we don't want Russ. Kind of like, I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't really love Russ. But now that he's here, I am excited. And why not? Like, he is the best quarterback that we've seen since prime Eli Manning. And then we signed him, and we talked about this, prior to this. We signed him for a $10.5 million guaranteed, up to $21 million. The incentives came out. The only way he's going to make $21.5 million is if he wins all 17 games. That's not happening. Everything else is playing time based and performance based. So if he plays the whole season, he probably deserves it because let's face it, Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll are on the hot seat. So the contract, I don't really think really hurts. It's a 1-year deal anyways. So if he sucks, it's like, whatever. Like we weren't going to really do anything else in free agency anyways at this point. It doesn't seem like, it seems like we're kind of set. And the fact that Daniel Jones is getting paid more for his 1 year with the Colts than the Giants are paying for Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. So, I mean, I see people are very upset about Jameis Winston. They thought he was going to be the starter. Let's be real. Jameis Winston hasn't been the starter since he left Tampa Bay. And while he was fun last year in the Steelers, I remember the Stowe game. That was sick. When he did the flip, he has some of the best clips ever. I love him. When I showed him to my girlfriend, she was like, I love this guy. I love him too. I love him on the sidelines. I love him in a pinch. I love the fact that if he does have to start a game, Malik Neighbors is going for 200 yards and 15 catches. But if anybody really thought that Jameis Winston, with Brian Daboll on the hot seat, was going to be the starting quarterback for more than 3 games, you're nuts. Like, I thought maybe it was going to be Jameis, and then we were definitely going to draft Shador, which is why I'm glad, like, we haven't done a pod since, like, the free agency recap, because I feel like a lot of people, especially me, like, why are we going to do a mock draft when we still have all these open-ended questions? Like, after Jameis, maybe it seemed like things were getting closer, but now that we have Russ, I feel like a lot of the Giants' plans are kind of highlighted and kind of showing where they're going. And I was being serious. Like, the Giants, I saw a tweet, but I was thinking this too. Like, Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, Tommy DeVito, those, I think, are probably the most viral quarterbacks for their off-the-field personalities in the entire NFL. And they're all on one roster. Like, all the unwarranted Giants primetime games, I think will be warranted just on the fact that we have such an entertaining quarterback room. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure people will be sick of it after, like, the 3rd Monday Night Football game. That's a blowout with the Giants winning because now we have the Ultimate Avengers team of quarterbacks. But, Jeremy, what are your thoughts as an Eagles fan? I know you very sarcastically open with this, but what are your thoughts?
There are 2 different ways I think you could think about it. And I think that I guess I should start off. I like Jameis more as a guaranteed backup with the signing of Russell Wilson. Especially you got Jameis for 2 years, which is kind of at a good deal too. I mean, as a backup for $4
million a year
is crazy. Backups are going for like 6, 7, 8 at the least. So I love the Jameis contract. Great teammate, great person in the locker room, not a distraction. He's really embraced his new role, I guess, but his role as a backup, and that's tough. Obviously, it was the 1st overall pick, so like that's pretty crazy. Like how things have changed. he is definitely a backup for sure. He will throw for 300 yards some games. He'll throw for three touchdowns. He's also going to throw for 3 interceptions. So good that he's a backup. And there's two ways of looking at the Russ Wilson signing. If you're a Giants fan and you don't believe in this season, and you want to put someone who can be a starting quarterback still, I think it's not a bad signing, especially this late into the offseason. He sort of fell into your laps, and for the money you're paying him, I get it. I definitely get the deal for sure. The problem is, the other side is, if you're the Giants, you want to compete and be a realistic team. And I think the problem with the Giants is they've sort of waited. You don't have to love Shedeur Sanders. That's fine. If you didn't want to take him at 3, I get it. The problem is it doesn't seem like there's been a time where the Giants, like, I don't think they know what they're doing in trying to find their franchise quarterback. So what they're looking at is, like, you have to take swings. You have to be aggressive. And if you don't like Sanders, that's fine. But look around. There's always going to be, Jalen Hurts was a second rounder, Bo Nix. It's not about necessarily a sure thing with the first 5 picks at quarterback. Sure, that would be nice if that happened. You have to be creative. You have to sort of find these quarterbacks and develop them too. It just doesn't seem like the Giants want to do that or know how to do that. So instead of being aggressive, they'll run away from the problem again and maybe take a guy like Travis Hunter with the 3rd pick, who I get, who would help the team absolutely. It just seems like if you don't have a quarterback, you're not a realistic team. And it just seems like another year of the Giants not being a realistic team. Now, of course, they probably weren't. Even if you get a guy like Sanders, how good are you going to be? I don't know. I mean, Washington brought in Jaden Daniels, who people thought were going to be good last year, but he was obviously great, and he got them into the playoffs as he got them to the NFC Championship. I'm not saying
there's only one quarterback in the division now that hasn't been to the NFC Championship.
That is correct.
Dak Prescott.
Absolutely.
Big deal.
I love that. And actually, I do appreciate the Giants for making that a thing. But to wrap it up, I get it. It's not an awful option. I don't think Russell Wilson's that good, but I do think he can start, and I think that maybe I thought he wasn't that great in Pittsburgh last year, and he had some decent talent too around him on offense.
Yeah.
I guess it's another year. I guess the Giants buy another year, but if you're Dable, if you're Shane, it's like I don't know. Maybe they have something where like they, if as long as they win, they should win 6 or 7 games. I think
That's really funny. I just saw per ESPN post the Russell Wilson signing, the Giants over under wins next season went from 6.5 to 4.5. Don't understand that. Yeah. I don't know if it was just a meme, but I saw it on. That's crazy. Yeah. Because Russell Wilson, no matter what, he's not the Russell Wilson of the Seahawks days, but he still is, if statistically, top 2, and in a lot of categories, number 1 in deep ball passing, which is something that Brian Dable was so frustrated with Daniel Jones, because that was the part of the game that he tried to grow with him. So after that playoff season, Brian Dable catered to the safety, quick game stuff, RPOs, just trying to disguise Daniel Jones's flaws, really rely on his running, his legs, highlight his strengths. But then that following year, after our playoff season of 2022, in 2023, he tried to push Daniel Jones to push the ball down the field, and he just wasn't able to do it. He wasn't able to hack it. You get a Jalen Hyatt too as a weapon that year, who wasn't able to be unlocked. And last year doesn't even have 100 yards. Finished the year with 66 yards. I mean, that was just awful. But Brian Dable wants somebody who could throw the ball down the field, and you see that with these signings of Jameis Winston first, somebody who just delivers the ball fearlessly. But then you see it with Russ, and Russ is actually really good in, I think he was 8th in turnover-worthy play, 8th being good, top 8, and least amount of turnover-worthy plays, despite being good at the deep ball. So I think that Brian Dable wants to get that deep passing game going and just be explosive. That's what he's been talking about too for like the past 3 years, and it shows in these signings. And Shedeur, maybe it came out that the Browns are going to get Shedeur. I mean, the Giants prior to signing Russ were at the Miami Pro Day, and Joe Shane was just salivating all over Cam Ward, like I was too. I wanted Cam Ward. Way to go! Thanks for beating the Colts, guys. That was awesome, Drew Lock. You're great. I don't even know if you're on a team right now. You're probably going to the freaking UFL. But I think, the Titans brought a whole film crew to go film Cam Ward's pro day. So I think that's set in stone. Cam Ward's going number 1 to the Titans. Put in all the money on the bets. I don't care what the odds, you'll win. It's sad. So I think maybe Shedeur is going to the Browns, or maybe there's even a world where the Giants see Shedeur falling so far that they could trade back into the back end of the second. Or first, I mean, back into the first, or
while using their 3rd overall pick still on a player,
on like a Travis Hunter. I've seen a lot of mocks like that. I don't think that's happening. And I'll tell you, we're about to do a 7-round mock draft. I mean, that's probably why you clicked on the video, not to talk about Russell Wilson, but we got to talk about it because it has a lot to do with the draft. But I think I'll get into this during the draft. But if you want to, I do want to pull up some Russ statistics. That Talking Giants, the guys at Talking Giants do such a good job of getting the stats on these players. But yeah, he was blah, 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 blah. Second in EPA per dropback on throws, 20 plus yards down the field. Like I was saying, good in last year. He was best in completion percentage over expected on balls thrown 20 plus yards in the air. And he's known for his moon ball. He's talking about the moon ball. And like the Giants interviews, like he thinks that's God's gift to him is the moon ball. And he's talking about how he wants to distribute it to Theo Johnson and Jalen Hyatt. He name dropped Jalen Hyatt. I guess he already has talked to Jalen Hyatt. Maybe that's a redemption. I mean, you're going to see better production with guys like Jalen Hyatt and guys like Darius Slayton. Where you're going to see a drop-off in production is probably Wan'Dale Robinson, because one of the reasons why Russell Wilson, you're talking about how great his deep ball is, he cannot throw over the field. Like, that is one of the reasons why he failed in Sean Payton's system, because Sean Payton likes that quick stuff over the middle, and Russell Wilson is hesitant to do that. I did see a stat that he's like good at accuracy, like in the short, intermediate, over the middle, but I don't know, because it hasn't really shown up and translated. So we'll see what we can get out of him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not here. Like, I would have to look into the numbers a little more. I'd have to look into the game tape a little more. I'm just going off of an eye test perspective, I guess to say. And when looking at Russell Wilson last year, I get all these stats that you're throwing at me. I understand it, but like, he just also didn't look that good. So it's one of those things where it's like, how far do the stats go in the situation where, like, you know, I think he had a better team with Pittsburgh to work with last year, and the Giants have winning aspirations this year. Otherwise, there are going to be guys who lose their job, the head coach and GM, I assume. But maybe this bought them a second year because they can go out and get their own quarterback next year. I don't know. But I think the stats are – it's a general point. I think that they're a little misleading with Russell Wilson. Otherwise, I think if you were a better quarterback, he would have been picked up earlier in free agency. Alas,
yeah, for a better contract.
I think exactly. I still think he can start in the NFL, which again, like I said, that's the first thing. I think that is good enough for the Giants going to next year at the very least, because they just haven't had that guarantee. They've had Daniel Jones, and like you said, he's the best thing since Eli Manning when he was the last few years in New York, I guess. So in that way, I really do get the signing, because it's just a bare minimum. The idea is fine kind of thing. I think if you're the Giants, you're beyond that point, but maybe not on it. Maybe you have to start like somewhere realistically. And in that case, I still think Russell Wilson can start and end the season as a starter. I'm not saying I don't think he's going to lead you to the playoffs. I don't think he's going to give you many wins, but it seems like a guy. It definitely seems like a bridge into the next franchise quarterback. I just didn't think. I thought the Giants were beyond that point at this point, but who knows? Maybe he still drafts Shador, and
Maybe.
he sits a year wherever you take him, or maybe you take another quarterback in the second round. I don't know if they're ready, but maybe you take one later. Now we'll see.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. I just thought the Giants were beyond this point, but again, like if he starts, he's definitely one of 32 who can start in the NFL quarterback without a doubt.
Yeah, and I listen. Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze here. Never mind. I know. But Russell, like these guys are trying to keep their jobs, and this is a predicament that John Mara put us in when they kept Joe Shane and Brian Dable,
Yep.
and they do need to throw as many darts at the quarterback position to be safe. So you got Russell Wilson. If he fails, guess what? Jameis Winston is going to be fun. And I think we are, because Tommy DeVito, everybody is like, oh, you got Tommy DeVito too. There's no way you're like Tommy DeVito shouldn't even be like on an active roster.
I agree.
Let's be like he was a fun UDFA, great story. Screwed us out of drafting Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Like, man, I love these underdogs that just keep on putting us in terrible predicaments. And there was even a report out that if Brian Dable thought his job was safe, he probably wouldn't have tried winning that Colts game. But I don't know how real that is. Anyways, we got a mock draft. That's probably why you clicked on the video. It's the mock draft. We got 7 rounds of the NFC East. Jeremy, do you want to just co-GM for the Cowboys and the Commanders, or do you want to like split them up? Because obviously I'll do the Giants, you do the Eagles.
Yeah, let's try splitting them up this time. Yeah, sure.
Who do you want to take?
Doesn't matter. You pick.
I think last time I did the Commanders, and you did. Yeah, I think this time maybe I'll do the Cowboys this time, and I'll give you.
Sounds good. I'll take the Commanders.
Yeah, I'll do the bottom barrel of the NFC East, and you do the top end of the NFC East.
I'm taking all punters with the Commanders picks.
hey, dude, they got Tress Way still, right?
That's true. They did re-sign him.
Yeah. Tress Way. Yeah, let's get into this, guys. Post free agency, we got a little bit better of a view. You like all these settings? I feel like this is solid, right?
Looks good. Yeah, nothing.
I feel like we got to do public because I think the public is more like the PFF draft board. I feel like can change a little bit. So
probably right.
The public is like what it did consensus, what everybody's doing. All right, let's do it. It's April 24th, guys. My birthday eve. The draft begins. Okay, let's see how this goes. What the? Seriously? Travis, I wanted Travis. Damn. Travis Hunter. Like, I feel like the Browns are going to go. They might go Travis Hunter. This is very realistic. Like, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, dude, this is. I think if the Giants are in this predicament, they do trade back.
Possibly.
Like, I think 100%.
I'll just say two. Not to take your. Abdul Carter at 3 is amazing. I know there's the surgery thing, but talent wise, what a pick that would be. But I also get trading down this situation for sure. I get it.
I agree. I think though also Joe Shane's trying to keep his job, and he has already invested a lot in the defensive end position. The big off-season acquisition, Brian Burns last year for a second round pick. Love Brian Burns. Kayvon Thibodeau, he's going into his 4th year now, right? Yeah, 4th season. And top 5 draft pick of Joe Shane, the first draft pick of the Joe Shane, Brian Dable era. I don't think they're ready to move on from him. Because, like, if you get Abdul Carter, you're not retaining Kayvon Thibodeau.
No.
No, you're not. Damn it, dude. This is going to screw up the whole draft. But you know what? This is something that I've actually really wanted to discuss. Because I like Mason Graham a lot. And I think one of the biggest needs is defensive interior. I'm not going to trade back just for the sanctity of trading back, but I think you could convince, like, even New England to move back one. Like, hey, we're going to trade up. Like, we're going to trade back with the Jags so that they can get Abdul Carter. But if you pay a higher price, move up 1 pick, you guys can get Abdul Carter.
Right.
I know that there's the Shador thing. I think the reason why we made all these moves is that we don't back ourselves into a corner with Shedeur. And I really don't think that we're going to take Shedeur at 3 anymore. That's just me. I'm sure there's Giants fans that disagree, but I think with these recent signings, I think the Giants don't want Shedeur at 3 right now. I think they'd rather. So I'm going to get Mason Graham. Like, he is a great run defender. He can penetrate. He is right up there, right below Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter. I think some people would agree he's like right on that level of a blue chip player. And him next to Dex with Kayvon and Brian Burns, we would be arguably the best defensive line in the NFL. Just saying. So I'm going to go Mason
Start
Graham.
to the trenches.
I'm going to do it. That might piss some people off. We might have just lost the whole audience right there, Jeremy.
No, I like the pick. I think it makes, especially if you can trade down. And yeah, I like the pick a lot.
And I think that's very possible now. Like, it's trading down and acquire, because the Giants do have other needs. We could even trade down even farther, and maybe we get stuck with a Will Campbell, who we could maybe use at tackle, maybe move him into guard. Speaking of Will Campbell, is he? Yeah, he was already taken. I figured. I didn't think he was going to fall. Ashton Genty. Okay. I know last time we went Matthew Golden, which I really like. Matthew Golden. I also like Luther Burden too. I think getting a wide receiver too would be huge. I think it's a little too high here to get a running back. Like, Omarion Hampton's great, but I feel like we've talked about this to depth. So
I think what might happen with the running backs is kind of what we saw with Bijan and Gibbs. Maybe a team panics and maybe they go for Hampton, like Dallas in that situation, but possibly not. And even so, I think they need more than a running back at this point.
All right. I think, listen, the Cowboys still need an edge too. They signed Dante Fowler Jr. All right. He had 10 sacks last year. Awesome. They also still only signed him for, I think, like $6 million guaranteed. So bringing him back, I don't know. He's older too. He lost to Marcus Lawrence. There's some good edge players here. Actually, I want to see, did Jalen Walker go? Because Jalen Walker, there he is. I don't like him as a pure edge rusher. I do like him as a pure edge rusher, but he also played linebacker. And maybe they do want to use him in one of those tweener roles. And I think if he became a pure edge, similar to how Mike Parsons became a pure edge, similar to how when Abdul Carter became a pure edge, they exploded. I could see Jalen Walker being this pick. What do you think, Jeremy?
I like it. I like the tweenerness with the ability to rush, but also drop back. I think that they've used Micah Parsons more as a pass rusher over the last few years. Yeah, of course. So, and I guess he's not guaranteed to come back, which is crazy, but it sounds like it's not a for sure thing about that contract. I can see it for sure. They get better on defense, which they need to do. Maybe get a playmaker too, another playmaker. Yeah, I could see the pick for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I like the wide receiver. I think it's deep at wide receiver. I think it's deep at running back. And if he needs to play linebacker, he can play linebacker because, yeah, you guys signed Kenneth Murray, but you guys lost Eric Kendricks, I believe, and Demarion Overshown isn't playing this season, I don't think, with his injuries. So he could fill two needs for you guys at linebacker and at edge. So Jalen Walker.
They can definitely wait like said, they can wait a receiver for sure.
Yeah. All right, you're on the clock here.
All right, Washington. Let's see. Yeah. See, there are guys that I want to take for the Eagles, but they need to. Okay, who they lose on their defensive line? They lose
Jonathan Allen and Dante Fowler. They don't have an edge really. Still, I think edge would probably be their biggest need.
Yeah. Nick Sarton's interesting. I think he's like a little bit of both power and speed.
Yeah. I mean, he's like the only one I feel like that's worth taking at this position.
Darius Alexander out of Toledo is a dog, but he's a defensive tackle.
Yeah, and they already signed Javon Kinlaw. I feel like they're kind of still set at defensive tackle.
Yeah,
Deron
yeah,
Payne,
and they paid
Tucson
Kinlaw
Newton.
too. So
Yeah.
I guess I'd go Sourton. I think he's a interesting player. I don't think he's as developed right now, but he has the speed, and I think speed kills too. And I think his size is fine overall. I could be wrong, but yeah, I'd go Nick Sourton with the pick.
He's a bigger edge. I mean, like he's almost like the same weight as like one of those speed interior defensive tackles. So yeah. I like him as that pick too, because I mean, Dan Quinn has worked with guys like that, like Chauncey Goldston. But Nick Sourton too, he played for Texas A&M. Obviously, we have Shamar Stewart, who also played for Texas A&M.
Yep.
And neither of them really had the pass rush production, but they had the skills. And I did hear that like maybe that's because they were expected to play more of the run rather than just focus as pass rushers purely. So I think it's a good pick.
I think I also heard that what's his name? Jimbo was sort of playing them out like you said, like out of position kind of. So like there was a lot of freelancing, but like, Sourton's a good player. And like the sacks too, like sacks aren't the end all be all. Like pressure's big. QB hits are big. Like that's the stuff where like they really look at, and I'm glad that they track it as much as they do. Yeah. And it's not, I don't think it's as glorified as the sacks total, but I mean, obviously more teams have over the years have really like looked at those measurements too.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you see the pass rush win rate isn't like phenomenal, but the pass
right. What percentage was his pass
17%? Actually,
that's pretty good
solid.
for the
NFL. That's actually really solid. That's like
if he does that in the NFL, that's pretty. I mean, yeah, that would be great actually.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess college might be different how they measure that, but yeah, if he puts 17, that's wow.
1 out of every 5 plays, he's winning that rep. That's good. All right, and on to the Eagles. Your Eagles.
Wow. Well, the Eagles have to obviously update their defense. TJ Sanders, nice player. I like Xavier Watts too. I assume Starks is gone. I assume Jahad Campbell's gone. I assume Walter Nolan is gone.
Yeah. I mean, the defensive tackles, do you want me to bring that in? Or?
Yeah, there's so many tackles that I love in this draft that just are gone. I'm going to go with Darius Alexander, though, for the Eagles pick. They took a Toledo first-rounder last year in Quinyon Mitchell. That worked out amazingly, of course. Darius Alexander is a really, really nice player, too. It helps fill a need at depth and probably maybe starting at defensive tackle next to Jalen Carter. We'll see how he develops, and obviously as the first year it's hard, but I think he's a really nice defensive tackle out of Toledo who should be there with this pick, and there's just so much depth at defensive tackle. Everybody's sort of taking the lead that the Eagles have sort of shown over several years about the trenches and with the guys up front, as they should, because there are a lot of talented guys, like I mentioned, with Nolan, everybody, even TJ Sanders, who's still there, really nice pick. And Harmon too, out of Oregon. But I'll go with Darius Alexander.
Yeah, I know last time I think he took Tyleik, which I like Tyleik Williams too. But I think Darius Alexander is more of an all-around defensive tackle.
Me too.
I like it. Giants are back. Ooh, I would have liked Josh Connerly and Derek Harmon. That's who I took last time in the second round. And honestly, like, I really wish I could have just gotten Travis Hunter, man. That was like the ideal. And I think I think he has the highest odds to go to the Giants. That's why I'm a little bit upset with kind of threw my whole draft into but there's a chance that happens, that he is off the board. Well, we re-signed Greg Van Roten to play guard, who is a great cheap option, veteran option at guard. And we have Evan Neal, who we have reportedly are moving to guard. We'll see. Obviously, he hasn't worked a tackle. Maybe it's the Mekhi Becton thing. But there is a guard, which his rank is 48. You're familiar with him. Tyler Booker did not perform well in the combine. Everybody was crapping on him, but he did. But before he performed at the combine, everybody was talking about his interviews and how great of a personality he is, how much of a dog he is, which the Brian Dable and the Giants love. And if you do want to, even if we get a rookie quarterback, we need to have a good offensive line. And Tyler Booker is a great pass blocker.
Yep.
One of the best, not a great run blocker, but a great pass blocker. And I think that he's somebody that we could really use. I did want to see too, because is Donovan Jackson still on the board? Because he was the guard. He is. I really like him. I just don't.
Yeah.
Even though he's rated lower, like I like Donovan Jackson. Like he played tackle for Ohio State in a pinch. Originally a guard. And he's like more of a like equal with the pass and the run. I am gonna go Alabama. I'm gonna go Tyler Booker at guard because I think Russell Wilson, one of his weaknesses is, and I think that he is going to be the starter until proven otherwise, even if we do draft a rookie, is that he walked himself into his own sacks. I think he was like third in like creating pressures by him, like quarterback caused pressures.
Yep.
So shore up this offensive line with Tyler Booker.
It's a great pick, great value pick too in the second round. First round player taking it. Yeah, I think it would be a good pick for the Giants for sure.
All right. Well, I know that I did a second round running back for the Cowboys last draft, but I just feel like it has to be, right? Like
unless there's a receiver that's dropped, but yeah.
Oh, dude. I think Jaden Higgins is a superstar. I think Jaden Higgins is going to be really good. So I think I am going to go Jaden Higgins. Just like think about it. Brandon Cooks, he didn't really resign, right?
I don't think so. No.
I think he's still a free agent.
He might have signed somewhere else, actually.
I don't see anything. He's back on the Saints. Back on the Saints, dude. Back to where it all started. Yeah. And yeah, you got like Kayvon Turpin. I mean, Kevontae Turpin, whatever. I think Jaden Higgins is amazing. He's like a pure X receiver too. Like 6'4", 215. Not a lot of drops. I want to see if they even have the drops here. They do not. But I mean, just he's going to be amazing. And he was playing at Iowa State. Like you have CD in the slot. You have Jaden Higgins as your pure X. I think this would be as much as Cowboys. You guys have freaking Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. You guys don't need a running back yet. Jaden Higgins, I think, if you don't want to compete offensively with some of the other high power offenses like the Commanders, like the Eagles, Jaden Higgins is a good pick.
Yeah, they need guys to catch the football in Dallas. So I like the position for sure.
All right, here we go. You're on the clock with the Commanders.
All right. Washington, good players already to look. Oh, wow.
Do you agree with the fact that they should go running back? I mean, it's the number one listed need here.
Yeah.
I know that they get a lot of good production. Austin Eckler is like, they got a lot out of him last year, but he's older. And Brian Robinson Jr. is great. Dealt with some injuries. Obviously, the gunshot injury that was not caused by him, but other injuries too. In the last season, I remember he missed some time.
Yeah.
And he's not like elite, like he's great. He's productive, but
yeah, I mean, I definitely think that they need, I think what they had last year works, but I don't think that's what you sort of want in a running back. I think you want someone who's just a better RB1 instead of having four guys split up the load. What is the running back scene looking like for the draft here?
The other one is corner too. I feel like they still need corner. But I mean,
Henderson,
Travion
Sampson,
Henderson. I've seen a lot of mocks where he's going the first now.
Me too.
But I don't know. I'm curious to see how that all shakes out.
I could see Henderson. Let's see the main board though, really quickly, and maybe.
Yeah. I mean, Dylan Sampson's up there on the main board. Dude, I really like Dylan Sampson too. But I think Travion Henderson has a little bit more oomph to him.
I've seen Henderson go in the first, so I'd go Henderson here, give them an RB1 option.
I mean, Henderson, good height, good weight. Dylan Sampson I think he might actually be right around the same, but I know he's a smaller back. But yeah. And Henderson was used in a split system last season. So not as much tread, but was like really effective, which he would be in a split system again. I think that Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler would still be worked in there. So yeah, I like Travion Henderson a lot. I think Commanders fans would like it too, to be honest.
It pushes everybody down the depth chart for Washington, which I think is a good thing too. So
yeah. All right, you are here. You guys got defensive interior Darius Alexander in that first round.
Let's go to is Ben Morrison there?
Ben Morrison is there.
Yeah, let's take Ben Morrison. There are a lot like there's so many players that I want to take here. Kennard is a tank. Josiah Stewart, awesome. But I think Ben Morrison, minus the injury last year, I think he's a first round talent. And I think that the Eagles, even though we don't need a quarterback, we kind of do in a way. And I think, oh my God, if you could get him at the last pick of the second round, Ben Morrison, run to the podium. The Eagles will take Benjamin Morrison.
Yeah, I don't even know if he will last this long. But
I don't think he will.
There's also a chance because of the injury that he will, because there's a lot of corners in this class too. So I like Benjamin Morrison too. Great pick. And the Giants, top of the third. Here we are. Man, I wanted to see if... Damn. There is a running back that I feel like we could have taken in the top of the third. It'd be Caleb Johnson, because out of Iowa, did hire the running back coach out of Iowa, Liddell Betts. And we did have a formal meeting with him at the Combine. So that's just something I know. I love Tyrone Tracy Jr. I think he actually played with Caleb Johnson at Iowa when he was still a receiver. And as much as I love Tyrone Tracy, I think that he could be a number one back. He was still a 5th round pick. It's going to be his 3rd year ever playing running back. And I think that the Giants could definitely use a run game. Like Russ has always worked with a good run game. So I think having depth at the running back position behind Tyrone Tracy, because we still have Devin Singletary. I don't love him. You get a guy like Caleb Johnson that makes the running back room a strength. But there's other running backs that I think we can take later on now. So other needs here. We took a guard. We took the defensive interior, which is, if we didn't take Mason Graham first, we got Travis Hunter. This is the guy who I've been looking at, is Omar Norman Lott, who I think is a great pick at the top of the third. All right. Where am I going here? I know I took Trey Harris at the top of the third before, and I still like Trey Harris a lot. Especially if we don't land like a Travis Hunter who could fill that wide receiver role. Like Trey Harris, like we've said it in the last mock, was the quarterback for Malik Neighbors. He's a bigger, like more of a pure X receiver. I know that we kind of want to get Jalen Hyatt involved, so maybe we wait a little bit on here in terms of the wide receivers. Let's see. I know that we also had a meeting with Josiah Stewart. We do need some depth at edge, because behind Kayvon now, we have Chauncey Golston, who I think we're going to move in and out of the defensive interior too. Oh, man, dude. This is a tough one. Josiah Stewart's small for the edge position, but he's effective. Like only 6'1", 245. You know what? Just because of that connection and the way that the board is falling, I think just throwing more resources at the edge position. I like Josiah Stewart just to throw him into that rotation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do that. Cowboys back on the clock here. All right. So far we got. Oh, we have to go running back now. This is the running back. Ooh. RJ Harvey is a lot of people's one of their favorite running backs in this class, and I think that he is definitely a hard-nosed runner. He was like the entire focal point of UCF's offense. I mean, the past 2 seasons, if you can see here, and I mean, almost 7 yards per carry per attempt. Like, I think RJ Harvey could be that guy. He's a small back, 5'9", 208.
Wow.
But
yeah,
he could also be a workhorse. And they did throw a lot of different resources at the running back. I like Devin Neal a lot too. I think that he's a bigger running back, bigger than by an inch, 6 pounds. But I think RJ Harvey could be like that, could be a 3rd round steal and be explosive. So I'm going to go RJ Harvey to the Cowboys here. You finally get your running back. Commanders traded their pick for Laramie Tunsil, the 3rd round pick. So that's why the Commanders are picking. All right. Here we go. What are you thinking, Jeremy? This is the top of the board.
Can you go down just a little bit?
Yeah, I gotcha. Harold Fannin.
Yeah, that would be that's a tight end on my board for sure.
And like you guys could use him in such creative ways too.
Yeah, he's big number 0 for them. That I wouldn't be upset with that. I think that we're gonna go up a little bit.
Go up a little bit? Okay,
yeah. Unless you want to show his stats.
I did want to show, so one of the things, he was a little bit slower, I know, which having as many yards and how much yak as he had as a tight end. But his size, too, everybody thought he was a little bit smaller, but I think he actually, stacked up where he's kind of, in the same height range. It's like
looked like it from the Senior Bowl that he was,
I think you guys took Anthony Belton last time at the end of the 3rd.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go a similar route, actually. Yeah. But we're going to take Charles Grant out of William and Mary at the tackle position. I like Fanning. I like Ransom, the Ohio State safety. I think you have to get something on the offensive line early-ish in the draft. And I think Grant's a tackle who might be able to be moved into guard if you need him to for a season early on, which Eagles might need. So I think that Charles Grant would be my pick.
All right. I like it, Charles Grant. You are an Eagle. And, smaller
Stays
school.
In green.
All right, this is exactly who I wanted here. This is where I wanted my guy. This is which I was talking about Caleb Johnson maybe at the top of the 3rd. Damian Martinez at the bottom of the 3rd, which I think maybe we could get him at the top of the 4th. But I like this guy so much. I liked him. I watched him at Oregon State, playing against Oregon, I remember, because I won a bunch of money on that game 2 years ago. And then he transferred to Miami, obviously, so I saw him a bunch because I was in love with Cam Ward, so I watched so much Miami. And Damian Martinez is just a beast, dude. 232, 6 foot, and he's a power back, but he's also fast. He had a decent 40 time, too, and just a power back between the tackles. And that's something that I think is a good compliment to a Tyrone Tracy. And he's a big, big power back, not like a Devin Singletary. Then this guy has breakaway speed. I think that if this was last year's draft, you would go a lot higher than this. And I love Damian Martinez, and I want him on the Giants so bad. So this is one of my dream picks right here. Last year I was talking about Isaac Chirendo and Tyrone Tracy. ended up with Tyrone Tracy, not Isaac Drendo. I actually like Tyrone Tracy better. That's awesome. But yeah, Damian Martinez to pair, get a good running game here. All right, man. We got some options here. There's some good players here. I like Kobe Bryant. I know that we invested a lot in the secondary, so that kind of changed. Oh, dude, I need a freaking quarterback, man. I totally forgot about my quarterback plan. Where did
Who was this for? Dallas?
No, this is for the Giants. Jalen Milroe went pick 73. I kind of figured he's who, and I think he's going to probably go in the second, as much as I would like to take him.
Yeah.
Maybe at the top of the third. But Jalen Milroe has one of the best deep balls in this class too, even though he struggled with the intermediate. So like he kind of fits that same Russell Wilson vibe, but he also is a great runner. And
he is a crazy runner.
Runner. Like better than Lamar Jackson, possibly. Yeah.
Yes.
And like he's somebody that, guess what? Joe Shane, Brian Dable, they clear house. And the new team, they try him at quarterback, doesn't work. Guess what? You can move him to running back. You can move him to wide receiver. He's one of those players. You might have the next Terrell Pryor on your hands. I think that I know that there's like all these quarterbacks here. I think these guys are going to be taken a little bit earlier. And I think the top of the fourth is a good spot to take Tyler Shuck. I like Tyler Shuck out of all these guys. Like Dylan Gabriel, I think is great. I think he's a little too small. Riley Leonard reminds me a lot of Daniel Jones, not just because they both played at Duke, but they're tall, they run hard. They're running quarterbacks, and I feel like they're more like deliberate with their
right.
Like he wasn't really asked to throw as much, just like Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones wasn't great. I like Quinn Ewers too. I kind of do like Quinn Ewers, but he is.
He dropped off.
I like Kyle McCord too. Yeah, he did drop off, but he had that oblique injury. I don't know. I know that the Giants were just with recency bias, we're just at Louisville's pro day, and Joe Shane and Brian Dable, I believe, were there too, scouting Tyler Shuck. And Tyler Shuck, if you don't know about him, has dealt with injuries. Originally a backup to Justin Herbert at Oregon, then played at Texas Tech. He's been benched. He's been injured. I actually just watched a bunch of his film because after I saw that he was at the pro day, he played on Louisville, so not as great of competition. But, I mean, you can even see these grades by game. Like, you played against Notre Dame and had a pretty solid grade. He played against Miami, had a great grade. Their defense wasn't as good. They were more offensive. But still, Tyler Shuck, a little bit older.
How old is he?
I think he's 25.
Wow.
Pretty sure he's 20. He is 25 because of all, everything that's happened. But he's also the most experienced quarterback. And if you do say Russell Wilson fails, say Jameis Winston fails, I'd really like Tyler Shuck. I know guys like Todd Mache thinks that he could be a first round pick. He thinks he's definitely going in the second. Obviously, you see Trevor Sikkema's PFF board. He has him way down, almost in the 200s. But I don't want to talk too much about Tyler Shuck. But yeah, Tyler Shuck. That's how it's spelled. I know it's show, but it's Shuck. So Tyler Shuck. That's my pick is for the Giants at quarterback. All right, Washington on the board. Jeremy, what are you thinking?
No need to draft a quarterback.
Yep.
Jaden Blue is an intriguing. Did we already give them a running back?
Yeah, Travion Henderson.
Yeah. Lampkin on the offensive line would work. Kaiser is a nice linebacker too.
Yeah.
I think that even though I think Bobby Wagner had a good year there, I thought there were times in the NFC Championship game where he showed his age, probably moments too during the season. I wouldn't mind going Kaiser here. And this is a guy I want the Eagles to draft too, so it's saying a lot. But yeah, I think it'll be a good pick for them. They need a lot of defensive help.
I think so. You think you add him to that room? Bobby Wagner's not going to play there forever. You can learn to use that Bobby Wagner. I mean, what, Bobby Wagner is like 35 now?
Something like that. And on the Saquon Barkley first touchdown run in the NFC Championship game, you saw him just trip over the line. I think it was just he's getting older. It's something a younger player I don't think gets caught up in. So yeah, Kaiser would. I'd take Kaiser here.
I like Kaiser too. Good for you,
Lampkin
Kaiser.
also. I mean, if you want a guard, that might not have been a bad pick either. So
yeah, I mean Willie Lampkin, like that was the guy who was telling you he's short, right? And he took on Deion Walker. Isn't he like 5'11" or something?
Yeah,
tiny guy.
I didn't know he was that. Wow, maybe never mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, his production was good. You know.
Yeah. Also played the
ACC,
but yeah. All right, Eagles. Let's.
What do you want to look at?
Wow.
All the quarterbacks at the top of the board, which just goes to show that nobody's taking these guys.
Yeah, seriously.
But hey, I mean, you guys do need a backup.
Let's look at safety.
CPR. Oh, is Sanker here? Did you take Sanker last time that we did this? The Virginia safety that looks like Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, that's funny.
Upton Stout's really good. He's just tiny guy.
I thought he was a corner.
I thought it was too. I think he's like a slot.
Okay.
Kinda. Yeah. It's so tiny.
I like Caleb Ransall a lot. Let's look at linebacker if we can.
Yeah, let's do it. Jacoby Dean's gonna be fine going into the season, right?
No, he's gonna miss probably a month, I think.
Ooh, Cody Simon. Danny Stutzman too.
Yeah, some guys for sure. The Clemson, obviously, we're too far out from that pick. Kobe King.
Yeah.
Let's go with we took a corner. Who did I take? Did I take a defensive end?
No, you did defensive tackle.
Let's look at defensive ends.
Yeah, I mean, you guys. So what? You guys have Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, and Azeez Ajulari.
Yes.
No, that's defensive interior. My bad. Let's get edge here. Boom.
Josh Uche. Yes. Let's go up. Yes, Henry Jones. I think we'll go naked short and sweet, I guess, and we'll go Caleb Ransall.
And the safety. Yeah, deal.
Lane.
I mean, when you get this far down too, like there's names you know.
That's true, and sometimes some guys go out earlier that you thought would be in this case.
Yeah. We'll do Ransaw. I'm actually not familiar with Ransaw, so the fact that you know him,
interesting guy.
Yeah. Cowboys here. They did say something about drafting a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense here.
What round is this? Is this
round 5?
Round 5. Yeah, I mean, I guess Ewers wouldn't be outrageous for the pick.
I mean, they like the Texas guys, man.
Yeah.
They lost Cooper Rush. Trey Lance, I just saw, is debating signing with like a Canadian team in the CFL.
Wow. Crazy.
Negotiations. Just so sad, you know? So sad. But you know what? Be better at football. It's your job. So. I also even still like Billy Bowman Jr. here at safety. Because I feel like he could also play a lot in the slot. They did lose Jordan Lewis as a slot cornerback. But I don't know. I just feel like it's just like too good to not get Quinn Ewers here. Like top of the board, I maybe it's a little chalky, but like They did. I did hear reports that they're looking to draft a backup quarterback in like.
I think drafting a backup quarterback in the 5th round and a guy who has a lot of college experience, who had his shortcomings, but definitely had some decent moments.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a bad pick. Yeah,
and I also think Quinn Ewers, prior to the season, everybody had him projected as a 1st-round pick, and he did deal with the oblique injury. I think seeing how great Arch looked too when he stepped in, but like Quinn Ewers still almost got them to the college football playoff.
Yeah,
like
revisionist
championship
kind of thing. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I think Quinn Ewers, and I think Cowboys fans would be happy with that too. I think. I hope so.
I would assume anything but Dak, you'd think.
I wanted to see. I like Kyle Williams. He's a little bit.
I like Kyle Williams too.
And I think that he could even go even higher. I like Quincy Riley too. He did well in the Senior Bowl. And even though we invested in corner, this is where if not getting Travis Hunter, I feel like changes the whole outlook of the draft, which is a very real possibility, even though everybody thinks that that's just going to happen. Who was I looking for here? Oh, I wanted to see wide receivers because there is some depth. There's a specific one.
Nick Nash.
I like Nick Nash. I wanted to see Ja'Cory Brooks, but I don't think he's.
Ja'Cory.
No, he is so far down, man. When I was watching Tyler Shuck, and you're familiar with him, Alabama transfer. I was saving for my last
probably.
Dude, he looked so good though in that film. He was just getting open. He was also making contested catches. He's a big guy, kind of X size. I like him, dude. I like him a lot. I mean, I know that he's so far down in the rankings here. Maybe I want to see where he is consensus, but I like Ja'Cory Brooks a lot. Just watching that film, but I guess because I can wait until my next pick, I will not take him there. Yeah. Let's see. I think based on depth at corner and Deontay Banks not really showing anything, I think you take a flyer on a guy like Quincy Riley, who I like out of Louisville. So 2 Louisville picks in a row. And I was looking at another Louisville pick. Damn.
Right.
Maybe it's because I love bourbon. I don't know.
There you go. Kentucky.
Yeah, there we go. All right. You're back on the board.
All right. A.J. Dillon really solves a lot of issues for the Eagles in terms of the running back room. And then they have Will Shipley, too.
Yeah.
But Etienne.
Trevor Etienne, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You just see the name. You see the production in college.
Can we look at
blocking tight end Jackson Hawes?
That might not be a bad idea. They need someone. Yeah. O'Donnell, few good. But we already took Morrison.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to take another. Can we look at let's see defensive ends as if that changed drastically?
Let's see. Edge. I actually kind of did. But I'm going to be real with you. At this point, the edges, and I feel like edges picked this far down, never really hit.
Yeah.
You can get some in the 3rd, but once you go to the 5th, I feel like you're just getting special teamers at that point.
Yeah. Let's go to every, but yeah.
Big board. I mean, do you guys have a big blocking tight end right now?
Well, maybe he's not big. They just brought in Granson from the Colts, who isn't big. I think he's 6'3", but he blocks pretty well. I think what I'm leaning towards Etienne or Kobe King, it looks like. And I guess
Denzel Burke had a fall off, huh?
Yeah, we did take a court, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's Burke's good value for sure there. Yeah, it's either Etienne or Kobe King, and I'll go Kobe King.
All right.
address the
All right.
linebacker because they're going to need something. I mean, maybe see what Trotter Jr. has, but
Yeah.
they're thin at linebacker.
Yeah, that is true. I forgot about Jeremy Jr. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a position too. That's good. Oh, back-to-back Eagles picks. You can still get Trevor Etienne.
Yeah, let's do that then. We'll take we'll take ETN.
I mean, hey, like I feel like he's versatile too.
Yeah.
And another Eagles pick, dude. This is just Eagles on Eagles on Eagles, man.
So it's interesting. Let's look at the quarterback position as a whole.
Quarterback as a whole?
Yes.
Yeah,
they brought in DTR, but I don't think he's a lock.
Dude, GJ Ukulele, man. Oh my god.
Oh my god, that drop off.
Yeah. I mean
KJ too. Wow.
Yeah.
Kyle McCord from Philadelphia went to the prep. Little homecoming, but we're not going to do that. Let's go
he
to.
Looked so good though for Stanford this year.
Yeah, he did. He Fran Brown coaching.
Yeah.
Let's go to the big board.
All right, deal. Kyle McCord's still there.
I think we're going to take Nick Nash.
I mean, hey,
I think at this
I feel like you take a flyer on him. You guys take flyers on wide receivers all the time in the draft.
I like there are a few guys that are intriguing here, but well, what's his case? He drops the ball a lot, but at this point, what was he, the most productive receiver last year in college football?
Yeah, he's just a tiny. He's not tiny. What am I saying? He's actually big. He's an X-sized receiver. I mean, he was productive. I think the biggest knock is for San Jose State.
Yeah.
But hey, I feel like this is where you take a flyer on a guy like this. Like you guys did it with Johnny Wilson. You guys did it with Anais Smith.
Yep. Bring in see what he has.
Yeah.
And just to add, I assume the Eagles trade a lot of these picks towards the end, but we'll see.
Yeah, dude, you have 5 picks in a row here, man. You guys are gonna be going crazy at this point of the draft. Now do you take?
Let's go. Can you go down just a little bit?
Yeah. Kyle Monungai out of Rutgers. He's a fun player.
I like him, but we just took. I don't think do this, but I'll take. Go up a little bit, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go Denzel Burke.
I mean, he was great in college. 2023 kind of fell off this year, and if you look at his stats too, it's not like it was awful.
Right, especially where you're drafting him too.
Yeah. I say we take him. Bam. Denzel Burke. Now I'm back here with the Cowboys. Already took their quarterback, so I'm not going back there. I like Danny Stutzman. I was actually looking at him.
I was going to take him. That was going to be my pick, and then I saw Burke, and I go, well, we just took a linebacker. Let's take Burke here. But yeah.
Big name here. I feel like he would even go earlier in this draft.
I agree.
And I know that they like Jalen Walker, who I drafted for them in the first, I think is more to be an edge player with that versatility. But I think Danny Stutzman's somebody who could really step up. I know that they took Maris Luafau in like the 3rd last year. He was okay. The Kenneth Murray trade, but yeah, let's. Plus, Oklahoma, that's really close to Dallas too. Now this is just more Dallas. Okay, well, you know what? This is my Jordan Lewis replacement, perhaps. Upton Stout. He's small, but he plays aggressive. He plays hard. I feel like you take a flyer on a guy like that. Plus, Dallas likes taking small guys. Yeah. Bam. Upton Stout. Only in the 6th. Dude, we have too many draft picks in this class. Especially the Eagles having 5 in a row.
I don't think the Eagles have any in the 6th or 7th either.
I think this is actually a great pick. I know that we already got their running back. RJ Harvey in the third. But, I mean, we see this happen all the time. Like, I remember even the Packers. The Packers drafted Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams back-to-back. That seemed to work out for them. Hit there. Yeah, I just feel like because he's also an Oklahoma guy. You know, I feel like Jerry likes this guy close to Texas. Ollie Gordon, obviously, like, was projected to be a first-round pick after last season and then fell off this year. Just fell off. But, like, look, his numbers from 2023 are just surreal. So, well, I feel like when you get this far down anyways, like, we kept joking last year about taking Joe Milton because he was a big name and he was just available at the end. And now everybody's like, dude, you can trade Joe Milton for a third-round pick. I don't think that's true. But he looked good on the Pats. You know, you kind of take people like that.
Intriguing prospect, yep.
All right. Okay. Where are we going here? I feel like we didn't even address the cornerback need at all.
Yeah, which we probably should have.
Yeah. And I don't love the people available right here. But just because we're already this far in, and let's be real, people probably don't even. I'm this far down in the 6th.
Looks good to me.
No, everybody. Let's just go. I like Tommy Hill. I like the name. Good size for a corner. Senior. He's got experience. Look at his grades here. Good in run defense. Dan Quinn's going to love that. Coverage rate okay. Man coverage not great. Zone coverage solid. Let's go Tommy Hill. I like him. All right. Wow, the Giants just like, where are my Giants picks, dude? No, there's one coming up. Top of the 7th. Cowboys, real quick here. Let's try to just kind of go through here. We haven't gotten a replacement for Zach Martin on the line. That is probably one of the biggest glaring.
That Sacramento State guard is a good option then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This guy? Do you like Jackson Slater?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you probably know more about him than I do, but good size, senior, good pass blocking grade. Take a flyer here. I feel like this is where you take the small school guys. That's why they fall down, but they played well. And you see if they can handle it in the pros. I like that. Finally, the Giants. This is where I'm going to get the guy that I was talking about because I think he's still available. Corey Brooks. I like this guy. And even some of these, dude, Brew McCoy. Like, these are like the bigger names. Brew McCoy was awesome. Kyron Lacey, I think he might have been cleared of all of his legal troubles. I like Will Shepard and I like Jimmy Horn Jr. too. But we got Tyler Shuck, so I'm going to get 3 Louisville guys. And Corey Brooks, man. I feel
really
like
going all in on team Cardinals.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, I like my bourbon, so I'm going to Louisville here. I like Ja'Cory Brooks. I think probably because he only had that 1 year good production in a smaller school, but
yeah,
I like him, dude. Cowboys. You know what? Let's just throw. We took 1 pick at guard. Let's just keep throwing it on there because we're going to need it. We're going to need more guard help. Timothy McKay. But you're this far in the draft, dude. This is where it gets fun. You know, you're just kind of like pulling out of your ass. I think at this point, Jerry Jones is even just like looking at the top of the board. And he's not even thinking about it.
Oh yeah, he's going to the scouts.
Yeah, here we go. What are you thinking?
I feel like any position would help Dallas.
Well, yeah, we're the Commanders now.
Oh. Yeah.
I should have gotten Kyron Lacey for Dallas. I feel like they love people in legal trouble.
True. True. I honestly don't. I don't know. What could go up? Go up.
Yeah.
We'll do Ty Robinson. I've seen him going higher, like a
Yeah.
lot higher, I think. But yeah, we'll do Ty Robinson here.
No, he's a massive human being too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I know that they got Javon Kinlaw and they have depth, but like you always need more depth. And when you're this
and
far
it's
down,
it's affordable too. Like they won't hurt you financially.
honestly, at this point, I feel like I'm just like looking at names. Like this isn't about fit. When you're this far down, you try to get good players who you think will be
yes, of course,
a steal. So screw. Oh, you know what? We went on Shador. Why don't we get Shiloh?
There it is.
Yeah, I'll take Shiloh. Shiloh Sanders. We need a little safety depth. You know, we got Dane Belton behind Javon Holland and Tyler Newbin. I think that's really it. And I'm back on here with the Cowboys. I was joking about the Kyron Lacy. Kyron Lacy, if he wasn't in legal trouble, would probably be like a second, third round pick, I feel like.
Yeah. There were times where it looked like a first rounder.
Yeah. I know his production doesn't look all that great, but that's, you know, if you watch the games, like he looked great. So don't, if he does get convicted, I'm not talking about his character. I'm talking about his football here. So that's it. Man, grading the draft. Oops. Wow. That's okay. Yeah, we did too many teams. First round, Mason Graham. If you forgot or weren't paying attention, that was essentially a trade down. I just didn't want to do the trade. I didn't really know how accurate it would be in adding picks. But even at 3, if Travis Hunter is off the board, I could see him in play over Abdul Carter. Just saying. I just want to say it now. People might be like, "No, you're an idiot." Just want to put it out there. Jeremy, how do you feel about the draft?
I love it. I love the guys I took for the Eagles. They just revamp, get younger, get cheaper for 4 years, and get better. So I just love it personally.
Yeah, and you know what? I like what I did with the Giants too. I think it was good. I think, especially if the board falls this way, some things I might have done differently is I might have even just taken that shot on Jalen Milroe at the top of the second because I think that you're going to have to, even if.
Well, I like the idea. Yeah.
Like, and you know, there's some people that would be like, "No, we still want Jackson Dart." Listen, I don't know. Jackson Dart was great in that system at Ole Miss. I don't think he took like any snaps under center. I know that he like struggled with that at the Senior Bowl. So he's definitely somebody who would be sitting behind Rust.
Yep.
Yeah. And Jameis. But yeah. I mean, we don't have all the picks pulled up, but some good picks. And I think if you watched through all those deep rounds, good for you. Comment. Tell us how great we did. Tell us how awful we did. Jeremy, do you have any thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
First round, I'm happy with Jarius Alexander, but it seems like with these PFF first rounders for the Eagles at 32, nobody is falling in a good way. I think that changes on the draft night. We'll see, but yeah, you know, it's just fun to see different options, different players in the draft.
Yeah, I agree. All right, guys. Well, if you made it this far, thank you. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. And yeah, like I said, tell us your favorite picks. Tell us your least favorite picks. Tell us that I'm a better GM than Joe Shane. Tell us that I'm a worse GM than Joe Shane. I don't know. I mean, is Jeremy as good as Howie Roseman? Could be. He made some good picks.
Can't go that far. I will say, you compete with Joe Shane for sure.
Hey,
probably
thank you.
Better.
Yeah, I'll take that as a compliment. Well, thank you guys. We'll see you later.